Hello everyone, welcome back to another one of these Dragon Ball game retrospectives, and in this one we're going to be covering a game that I'm pretty sure a lot of you Dragon Ball gamers know very well, and that's Dragon Ball X Xenoverse, or Xenoverse, something like that. And I'd say that this is one of the more recent Dragon Ball games, and I say recent even though the first game came out like almost a decade ago at this point. But I'd say it's one of the more recent big budget Dragon Ball games, and I know a lot of people really like these games, even though I never really got the hype for them. Mostly because I just wasn't around to play them. I mean, I did play a little bit of the second game, but like an hour at most, and I didn't even touch the first game at all. But hey, since we're going through all of these Dragon Ball games leading up to Sparking Zero, maybe it's time that I finally gave these games a chance and get the full Xenoverse experience. So let's quit yapping and just hop into the Dragon Ball Xenoverse verse. Yeah. Bruh. And as soon as you start up the game, you immediately get thrown into the Super Saiyan Goku vs Frieza fight on Namek, which is pretty crazy because, you know, most of these Dragon Ball games never just throw you into these massive fights right out of the gate. But this one says, nope, mana buster, we're throwing you right into the trenches. So immediately this game starts off with a really strong opening, and once you defeat Frieza, you go into the Cell fight during the Cell games, and then after him you get put up against Kid Buu, and then after you beat him you get this cutscene of Future Trunks saying something like the timelines being threatened or something, you know, standard Future Trunks yapping.
It seems you're.
And then we are greeted with the animated opening for this game, with a cover of Chala Hechala by Flo playing in the background. And don't get me wrong, I love animated openings for Dragon Ball games, but man, Yamamuro's modern Dragon Ball art style is just not it. But hey, it's an animated opening, I'll take it. And at the end of the opening, we see Trunks summon Shenron and wish for a powerful warrior, where we are then taken to the character creation screen. Yeah, this game allows you to create your own Dragon Ball OC, Do Not Steal. And you get to choose from a few different race options, like Earthling, Namekian, even Frieza's race, and they each have their own specific traits. But, you know, I went with Earthling because yes. So after a while of cooking up your OC in the lab, you get transported to Toki Toki City where you meet Trunks, and he challenges you to a fight, which is basically the tutorial for the game, and once you whoop his ass, he'll pretty much explain to you what the game is about.
Sorry for attacking you, by the way.
So apparently there's this time patrol, which are basically a group of fighters that fight to keep the timeline safe, you know, stuff like that. And now we are one of them. Oh, and later on we also meet the Supreme Kai of Time, who is the Supreme Kai of Time. Pretty self-explanatory. And then yeah, after that you're pretty much just free to roam around Toki Toki City, which is basically the hub world for the game. And in the hub world you can talk to NPCs who will give you stuff sometimes. And later on as you progress through the game, sometimes you'll even see like actual Dragon Ball characters show up. And for some of them you can even ask them if you want them to be your mentor, which is pretty cool because doing this will allow you to like learn their special moves. And I chose Piccolo because, you know, he's the Grill Master.
The Grill Master!
So if you just play the game with him as your mentor, every now and then they'll ask you if you want to learn a new move. So like for Piccolo, you'll be able to learn the Explosive Wave, the Light Grenade, and the move that I really wanted, the Makunkus... Oh, to hell with it. Special Beam Cannon! Which does a huge amount of damage.
That's a lot of damage!
And yeah, you can do this for a bunch of other characters like Goku, even fucking Perfect Cell.
I'm Perfect Cell, nigga!
And a thing that I love is that, like, at the end of matches when you get ranked, they'll give you a specific voice line to match your rank.
Your life is nothing! You serve zero purpose!
And some of them are really goofy.
Splendid! Now this is a true fight! I would totally hug you if that's something I did.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool system. Oh, and as you progress through the game, you'll also be able to go to the shops around Toki Toki City. So like there's the mixing shop where you can mix certain items together to create a new one. I didn't really use this one that much, but it's there. There's also the item shop and the skill shop where you can buy new moves, like the Kaioken, and the items you can take with you into battle so you can like heal up mid-fight or something. Which is pretty cool. You couldn't really do something like that in other Dragon Ball games before. And there's even a clothing shop where you can buy clothes that are, you know, from the series. So like there's Goku's GT clothes, there's the Yard Rat clothes, and there's even an accessory shop where you can buy stuff like the Bansho fan, and some other really goofy stuff like Mr. Satan's wig.
I woke up in the air fresh as hell on a Monday.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of stuff that you can do to customize your character in this game, and it gets pretty addicting. Oh, and speaking of customization, you can also boost your character's attributes with these skill points, so you can like make your character focus on strength or speed or stamina, and you get these as you level up by just, you know, playing the game basically, but you mostly level up by playing the story mode. Speaking of which, let's get into the story mode. So the story mode starts off at age 761 during the fight against Raditz, and it looks like it's just gonna be, you know, your ordinary run-of-the-mill Dragon Ball game story mode, where it just goes through the same Z story again. But then this happens.
What? Fuck!
I'm fucking dead, dude. I'm fucking dead, dude. I'm fucking dead.
Yeah, this is obviously not how this went in the actual story. So Trunks sends us to that point in time to help out Goku and Piccolo. And yeah, we set things right by beating the shit out of Raditz and making sure that Goku dies.
Double kill.
Yeah, as ironic as that sounds. And then we just dip. Mission accomplished. And yeah, the whole story mode is basically us going through the Z story and fixing different anomalies that happen. And this leads to some pretty cool what-if scenarios, like how during the Saiyan arc, Vegeta doesn't kill Nappa. And in the Namek arc, Ginyu actually takes over Vegeta's body instead of Goku at first, and we get this really goofy cutscene of Vegeta doing this.
Ginyu! Yeah! We are the Ginyu Force!
What the fuck was that?
And yeah, at its core, the story mode is still just the Z story, but these little twists make it so much more interesting than just going through the normal Z story again. And especially for myself, who's been doing this little marathon, playing all of these Dragon Ball games, it does become kind of a chore to basically play the same story mode over and over again. So these little twists that this game adds in, it makes for a pretty nice change of pace. And eventually we actually find out who were causing these anomalies. That being Toa, who's Deborah's hot demon sister.
Hey, yo!
And Amira, who's like her bodyguard that she created for herself. And these two have been causing tomfoolery throughout the timeline so they can gather up energy and try to open up the demon realm, or something like that. So for like half the story mode, we're just trying to catch these two. And it's around the Buu arc where we have our last fight with them, where we have our last duel with Mira, and we end up fucking deleting him.
You're fucking dead.
So, you know, Toa kinda just runs away, because she can't really fight herself, and that's the last that we see of her in this game. But that's not where the story mode ends, because there's a new enemy that we kind of got glimpses of before, and that's Demon God Demigra. This guy and his really goofy haircut.
Get that shit out of here!
So he shows up at the time nest to tell us his little evil conniving plan, which is to absorb Toki Toki, who's this goofy looking time god bird thing. And yeah, the rest of the game is just following him around and trying to stop him. And the really cool thing is that we actually end up going past the Buu arc into the Battle of God stuff, which is a really welcome surprise because most of the Dragon Ball games we've covered before have only gone up to the Buu arc, so it's cool to finally play a game that covers some of the newer content. So you know, Beerus is here and we get this really funny cutscene where Vegeta actually ends up saving a cup of pudding for Beerus, unlike in the original story. But then when Beerus is gonna drink it, Trunks like throws a ball at it and it just goes flying into the air.
I'm sorry.
Goten, why didn't you catch it, dude?
Yeah, because you threw it too hard, Trunks. By the way, how'd you do that crazy curveball?
So then we have to fight off a pissed off Beerus, and then Goku comes in and becomes a Super Saiyan God and stuff. You know, it's basically the Battle of Gods movie. And then Demigod shows up and it looks like he ends up controlling Beerus, but...
After everything has been destroyed, Demon God Demigod shall rule! Die! What? Impossible!
By the way, I knew you were there.
That's why he's the GOAT!
Yeah, Beerus hits him with the "You're not him, buddy." And we team up with Beerus against Demigra and fucking knock this shit out of him. But you know, he ends up running away because he's a coward. And then I'll just flash forward to the end of the story mode where Demigra ends up invading Toki Toki City and he ends up successfully absorbing Toki Toki. And now he's like extra super strong. So we have our last boss fight with him and man, I did not like this boss fight. He's just super annoying to fight, especially when he ends up controlling Trunks and we have to fight both of them at the same time, because he just keeps spamming this one long-ranged move that's unblockable. He's just super fucking annoying to fight. But then Goku comes in cause he's Goku. And then after another phase and almost dying at one point, Demigra ends up transforming into his final form, which is a really ugly blue dragon-like thing, although it does look kinda cool, I'm not gonna lie. And that's the final boss. We just beat him up alongside Goku, we beat him down with the power of friendship, and then we finish him off with one double Kamehameha.
The fuck? It's trembling! Let's go!
And yeah, that's the end of the story mode.
Hey, can I go home now?
And yeah, that's pretty much all there really is to cover in this game. I mean, you know, obviously you have your versus mode where you can do 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, and the roster for this game is actually pretty big, so that's a pretty big plus. Although it's not like on that Tenkaichi 3 level. Oh, and there's also this world tournament mode, but I don't think it even works anymore, since I think it only worked when there was live tournaments going on, and well, this game is almost 10 years old now. So yeah, this game mode is pretty much non-existent anymore, which I think really sucks that you even need it to be online to play it, especially since, you know, the Tenkaichi and pretty much every other Dragon Ball game had a fully working tournament mode that doesn't need live tournaments going on, that you could just play offline in. So yeah, I think that's a huge fumble there. But there is one more big thing about this game that I can't forget to mention, and that's the parallel quests. Parallel quests are basically this game's mission mode, where you could fight against certain enemies on certain stages, and by completing them you get items and sometimes even new skills. And the cool thing is that you can actually like roam around the stages during them, and you can like pick up hidden items. But in some quests you can actually find these random time patrollers, and if you challenge them you can actually beat them, and usually they'll drop you a Dragon Ball. And of course, once you obtain all 7, you can take them to the altar in Toki Toki City and summon Shenron.
God, it's you guys again.
And in this game he'll let you wish for stuff like money, raising your character's level. But the one that most people are probably gonna pick is unlocking a new character. And when I used this wish, I actually unlocked Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so that's pretty sick.
This time, I will have my pudding.
Alright, now to address something that I've kind of been neglecting this entire video. The actual fighting.
Nobody but you, nobody but me.
This game's combat is pretty rough, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some new mechanics that this game brings in. Like, aside from having access to 4 supers, you also have this super evasive move, which basically makes it so that if you have enough stamina and you get caught in a combo, you can pretty much just break out of it. There's also the Z-Soul thing, which adds like a status effect to your character. So yeah, there's some new stuff, but overall the combat feels very dumbed down. Like there's a very small number of combos that you can actually do, and a lot of them are just very slight variations of the same combo. So the gameplay gets pretty repetitive once you play the game for a while. Like, I get it, it's the first game in the series, but even Tenkaichi 2 probably had way more complex combat than this game does. And it's not just a matter of the combos being simple, the combat itself feels very watered down in a way. And I think a big part of it is also that this game's combat is a lot less cinematic compared to those games. When you do a cool combo in the Tenkaichi or Raging Blast games, the camera would follow the action, like it would switch to 15 different angles, it would do a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and it would make the gameplay feel so energetic and just fucking cool. But in this game the combat just looks so much more lame in comparison. And oh my god, I just remembered, this game's biggest sin was removing beam struggles. And not only that, but also removing the dragon rushes. I don't know why they didn't include these mechanics. Like, okay, maybe people broke a few controllers doing these in the Tenkaichi days, but these made the fights feel like Dragon Ball fights. When you got into a beam struggle in the Tenkaichi games, you were that character. It was life or death. But in this game, it's just not a thing. It just doesn't happen. It's just, in general, this game's combat doesn't really compare to the combat in the Tenkaichi and Raging Blast games, and I think that's actually its worst aspect. Well, aside from the graphics, because I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like this game's graphics at all. Like, I just don't like the oily, like super oily look, and how everyone looks like they just oiled up. Hey, yo! But I know that's subjective, so I'm not gonna harp too much onto that. But yeah, I just think that this game's combat is pretty mid, and I'm fully expecting it to be a lot better in Xenoverse 2 when I get to that. And also, as usual, I almost forgot to mention the music, but you can't really blame me because the music in this game is okay. It doesn't really stand out all that much from other Dragon Ball games soundtracks, but there definitely are a few bangers. So overall, I think this game is pretty good actually. Like, aside from all of the shit talking I just did to the combat, like, the game is really fun. Just being able to put yourself in the world of Dragon Ball and learn whatever special moves you want, being able to fit your character out with whatever elements from the Dragon Ball world you want, and being able to interact with all of these characters. Like, it's probably one of the most unique experiences that any Dragon Ball game has to offer. And despite all the shit talking I just did to the gameplay, I still really enjoyed myself with this game. And yeah, I can see why a lot of people like it too, because Dragon Ball Xenoverse is pretty good, I've gotta admit. And I can't wait to get into Xenoverse 2. Oh my god, it's still going.